Hello, and thank you everyone for joining HackaSCOM today for our first of what I'm hoping will be an annual event from us here at Team Scomathon. Just take a moment to appreciate the XML branding here. We've got a really exciting show for you. Before we dig in, let's just set the stage and explain a bit more about what we are going to be doing today. So today's competition is called HackaSCOM 2021, and the whole idea is it's a conventional hackathon, which is essentially a coding challenge, but crossed with SCOM, hence HackaSCOM, for the ultimate clash of the titans. We have experts from across the industry, both as contestants and as judges, so we really hope you enjoy the show. So before we dig in, just a quick word from our sponsors. Scomathon is sponsored by Squared Up, who are the not so secret source for dashboards for SCOM and for beyond. I'm sure you've heard of them already, but if not, go to squaredup.com and do check them out. It's also sponsored by Cookdown, which is the company that I work for. We integrate SCOM with a number of places, getting data into SCOM and out of SCOM. We also have SCOM tuning tools in the form of EasyTune. And for HackaSCOM only, we are also sponsored by Silect, helping to make your life easier in the arena of MP authoring. If you haven't heard of Silect already, do go check them out at silect.com. They have tools that will help make MP authoring much easier, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from our contestants who already use it. So before we go into the challenges itself, it's worth saying that throughout the event, we are running conversation for the community on Slack. If you go to scomathon.com/Slack, you will be given instructions on how to join our Slack workspace. And if you have any questions for anyone at any point, you can go there and post them and we'll respond. We're all on it. I have a separate laptop here next to me, ready to answer you as the challenge unfolds. You can also use the hop-in chat function. If there's something that I think is particularly interesting as commentary on our ideas, I may put it on screen at the bottom, we'll see. We'd love for you to all participate as the event goes on. So what are we here for today? What is the challenge? It's really straightforward. We have 5 contestants, and we are going to be setting them a challenge each, one challenge per contestant. So it will be a different challenge for each contestant. We've been collecting these challenges from you guys, the community. At the point you registered, there's a box you would have filled in along the lines of what would you like our contestants to build? All the ideas have come from there, which is really, really awesome. Our contestants will be given 24 hours in which to build whatever it is we're going to be challenging them to build. So not that much time in the grand scheme of MP authoring. And when we get into some of the specific ideas, you'll see why 24 hours, the time element, adds an element of challenge to proceedings, as there's some things in there which are months, possibly years worth of work to build. So it's not super simple. We have 5 awesome contestants for you who are titans in their field. A collective, SCOM experience base in this virtual room of multiples of my life, which is really cool. We also have 3 judges who you will be hopefully excited to hear from and will know hopefully already. And that is the shape of today. So without further ado, let's see who our judges are for today. So our first judge that I'd like to introduce you to, although he's a man that needs no introduction, of course, is Bob Cornelison. Hello, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much.
Great to have you with us. Again, you're a Scomathon veteran. You're also a Microsoft MVP, and you're the managing consultant for TopCore. Tell us a bit about yourself and your love for SCOM.
Well, I'm a fisheries biologist gone rogue into the IT system. And I've been doing SCOM since SCOM 2000 and went almost full-time in 2006, 2007 and started my own company called TopCore now and been an MVP for 10 years. That's the short version of it.
I was about to say that there's obviously like a long version that goes from marine biology to IT that I'd love to hear over a beer one day, but probably not today. But it's great to have you with us once again, and thank you for being up for HackaSCOM today. But you're not alone. You are joined by judge number 2, another household name in the SCOM game, Stoyan Chalikov. Hello.
Hi, Bruce.
It's great to have you back with us. Stoyan was with us recently for a coffee break where we presented on tricks and tips, and it was possibly had the most comments of any webinar we've ever done, a SCOMathon. So it's great to have you back with us. You are so obviously also a SCOMathon veteran. You're also a Microsoft MVP and a senior consultant for Pune IT Consultants. Introduce yourself, I guess. Give us a few words about you.
Like you already mentioned, I'm Stoyan. I'm relatively new to SCOM compared to the other guys who are participating here. Needless to say that it's a great honor for me being amongst the judges here, because the guys I'm judging today are the guys I have learned from. I'm doing SCOM in the past 7 years, but this is my main product I'm working with. So I'm doing 100% SCOM now. SCOM is my passion and I love it, and I'll gladly continue doing this also. It's a great honor to be here today.
Great, thank you. It's great to have you with us again, and thank you for being up for the challenge. And our final judge who will be joining us today is Shivam Kumar. You are with the SCOM product group. So who better to judge something relating to SCOM than the SCOM product group? Hello,
So
Shivam.
hi everyone. As Bruce mentioned, I'm from the SCOM product group. So some of the features you like, I may have developed. Some of the bugs that you hate, I may have introduced. I'm sorry for that. So I am, as Stoyan said, he's relatively new. I am even newer. I have been a part of the SCOM team for the past 3 years, and I have worked mainly on the MP side, trying to develop better tools and working on the MPs that we release, such as Azure MP. And like the whole concept of SCOM as a titan of a product, like it just riles me up, and I am very happy to see what these awesome people are going to build. Because like when I am learning SCOM, I go back to their blogs, their articles, what they have done. So it's going to be amazing to see what they are going to come up with.
I agree. Thank you very much. It's great to have you with us. And I can forgive the bugs, if only for a few SCOM 2022 spoilers. Anything we can expect you can say? Probably not.
I will have to check that with my PM team.
I knew the answer to that question already, but hey, you can't blame a man for trying. And I guess I haven't put my own face up there. I'm sure people are familiar with me, but I'm Bruce Cullen. I'm the director of products at Cookdown. We are one of the sponsoring companies for SCOMathon. I guess my SCOM experience. So I was originally employed by Squared Up, where I was a project manager, essentially, project managing all of the Squared Up releases before becoming a founding member of Cookdown. So I've been very hands-on with SCOM since we started Cookdown in early 2019. My first introduction to SCOM was MOM 2005, when I set it up as a junior IT support guy for an insurance company that I then worked for. I've dipped in and out to SCOM on and off ever since, and it's been really awesome to get to know SCOM, the ecosystem, and everyone involved since the Cookdown journey. So that's me. And those are our judges. So what next? We need some contestants. So let's move on to introducing our contestants. So the first name, again, another household name in the game of SCOM, is Dion Walsham. Hello, Dion.
Oh, hello. Feel a bit nervous now with that introduction.
Well, you've been on multiple SCOMathons. You've joined me for multiple webinars before. We've shared a beer before. I'm sure our audience will be familiar with you, and if they're not familiar with you, they'll be familiar with some of the solutions that you've developed. For HackaSCOM, we developed these rather fun top trumps cards that we use to market the event with, and these are a great way of actually summarizing how involved in SCOM you are, which means you really are in with, as far as I'm concerned, a shout of winning. So I guess let's hear a bit more about you from you.
Let's see. So yeah, my SCOM experience is actually pretty varied. So I started working on SCOM from about the 2007 version, but technically the oldest one I ever worked on was MOM 2005. So it was sort of a great way to sort of see the background on how much MOM actually developed and then turned into SCOM. So it's actually had quite an impact in terms of a lot of the sort of solutions and management packs that I've developed over the years. So yeah, it should be very interesting to see what I can come up with creatively.
Indeed, I'm looking forward to see what you'll come up with. It's great to have you with us today. Next up, we have Ronnie. Hello, Ronnie.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So Ronnie, you're a newer name to me, but you're not new to SCOM. You have a lot of SCOM experience, way more than I have. You have 14 years of SCOM experience and have been around SCOM since 2005. But let's hear about you from you.
I have a developer background and started my SCOM journey as a consultant deploying SCOM 2007 environments and also migrating MOM 2005 environments. And I soon started working with the custom management packs in the SCOM 2007 authoring console. And nowadays I gladly work in Visual Studio instead with the authoring extension.
Yeah,
so that's where I spend most of my time nowadays.
One thing I would just have to quickly pull you up on: number of unresolved visits, wildcard. Surely that's 0, right?
Oh no, that's many.
That's many, yes. There's something that we can all attest to. Well, it's great to have you with us. Great to hear of your experience, and I don't think there's anyone that would disagree that using Visual Studio authoring extensions is easier than the native SCOM console for authoring monitoring. So looking forward to hearing and seeing what your experience will bring to light over HackaSCOM today. Next up is a name that a few people here have already alluded to the use of the resources from. Is a name that really does need no introduction. So Kevin Holman, hello. It's great to have you with us today. Let's hear a bit about you. Everyone's going to know who you are, but let's hear a bit about you in case people don't.
Sure. Yeah, I joined Microsoft 15 years ago. And I had never seen MOM 2005 before, but they brought me in to learn it. And so at the same time as I was learning it, I started a blog because I was so terrible at remembering SQL queries and certain tools that I needed to support. So I kind of just documented my journey. And as I learned something, I would blog something, and it just kind of took off from there.
Makes sense. So I've been to your blog many times myself, troubleshooting our own internal SCOM deployments as well as at customer sites. It's an invaluable resource. So thank you from me, and I'm sure from the rest of the community. And it's great to have you with us and to see what you'll be building over our challenge, this competition. On to page 2 of our contestants. We have 5. And next up we have Anders. Hello, Anders. How are you doing today? Give you a moment to be brought on, and while we're battling with buttons, I'll just say a few things about you. So you have 7 years worth of SCOM experience. You've been around SCOM since 2012, SCOM version 2012. You actually work with Ronnie, so you guys are very well acquainted. So I imagine similar area of expertise as far as MP authoring is concerned, which is cool. Hopefully we can bring you in now. Let's see.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Do you hear
Great.
me? Yes.
I can, loud and clear. Great to have you with us. Let's hear a bit more about you from yourself.
Thank you. I put my widescreen glasses on today so I can take the whole picture, not the narrow one. And a little bit about myself. I have a background with another enterprise management tool that was called Unicenter from a company called CA that I has worked with since the mid-90s. So, and then I met Ronnie in 2014, and then it's SCOM for it. We have developed lots of things to do, and I'm really happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. Amazing. Great to hear about your journey as well. One thing to apologize to you about, your profile picture. And what's that in the background that we've harshly cropped out?
Oh, that's my diploma. I also practice karate. So I have a third dan of black belt in karate. So I'm really proud of that too. I'm an old man, but I can still move.
I think you'll probably do a better job of that than me. And sorry for cropping it out. And again, it's great to have you with us. We have one final contestant to bring to stage, a name who I know very well because in the spirit of, full transparency, Nathan and I work together in Cookdown. But Nathan, you've been around SCOM for a very long time, a lot like everyone else. You are our solutions architect at Cookdown, so you author or at least set the direction when it comes to our management packs. And it's great to have you here today. Hello, Nathan.
Hello. Yes, thank you. And I'm excited to be here. And it worked perfect being a contestant, as it gave me an excuse to get out of all the planning, because it's not fair if I knew what was going on. So I got to sit in the back seat for much of the event planning.
This is true. Nathan has had no extra knowledge, information, exposure to anything that's been going on today. Then
the extra work. Yep. But yeah, I started SCOM just lightly getting alerts from it, but I really started developing for it when working for C.H. Robinson. Is a huge environment. And my favorite part is just you can do anything on the platform. It's so flexible. So anytime someone said, you can't do this or that won't work, sure, it's just a platform and you can build it from there. So I'm looking forward to today. It should be a lot of fun.
It's a great platform. There's a lot you could do with it. I always like talking to Nathan Gow, who is a security expert who's also in the arena of SCOM, whenever we talk about what the SCOM platform can do, because with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
And maybe we can exploit some of that power over the course of this competition. So it's great to have you with us, Nathan. And just for everyone else's sake, Nathan is going to be last up when it comes to receiving his idea, because I'd hate to show any bias towards Nathan as a Cookdown employee. So that's deliberate. All right. Well, we have our judges, we have our contestants. One thing that is not yet clear to everyone is that over the course of today and tomorrow, we'll be donating $2 for every attendee to a charity that the winner chooses. So, there's some really worthwhile charities in the mix. We have the Boy Scouts of America, Cancer Fondant, Girls Who Code, and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. I'm not going to, at this stage, reveal who picked which charity. Also to say that two of our contestants have picked the same charity, which is why there aren't 5 logos here. No, that's not a mistake. That is deliberate. So basically, we'll be taking that count at the end of the webinar on each day. So do stay on right till the very end, just for logistics. That makes my life easier because I can go and read the total count without flipping between screens. But there's some truly worthy charities in here that our contestants will be able to make a donation to if they win. So really, really awesome point. So let's have a look at the sort of ideas that you guys have been submitting. So we had actually over 78 ideas submitted by you all as a community, which is great. And there were some really awesome ideas in there as well. Some that were really, really high level, some that were really, really low level and specific. It's actually greater than 78. I took this count on Friday, it would have been. I can imagine that some have been submitted since. So it's a really high number. So obviously, we're not going to be putting all of those ideas to the vote. We have come up with a shortlist, which contains 9 ideas. So this shortlist has been worked between myself, the judges, and the experts at Select to come up with a sensible shortlist that we feel are the sorts of ideas that are both useful to the community, but also that can be executed on within a 24-hour time frame, because some of the ideas are absolutely massive or just way too small. It has to be sort of realistic in the time frame. So there were also some themes that came out as we were going through these ideas. So some of them are really kind of obvious, like templates. and fragments. Templates was actually the word used by the community rather than fragments, which is why I've used that wording in my slides here. Also, maintenance mode came up quite a few times. There were some massive things in there, like can you manage to monitor Azure or ESXi or Citrix? Those things we have not made the shortlist because they are absolutely massive. That's, you know, months and years worth of work. Shivam, you know, I know you were involved in the Azure MP. I can't imagine that was a 24-hour effort. So you can see the themes that came up. Just interested to hear the thoughts from our judges on these themes. So I'm going to go around you judges one by one, starting with you, Bob, on your thoughts on these topics, these sort of themes. We're going to the specific topics.
Well, I thought the themes they were really interesting. We did, of course, see the longer list, and some are coming back more regularly, like the URL monitoring, the app monitoring, and also things like containers in Azure, which are, you know, also things that are worked upon by others. And of course, some of the bigger ones, such as you mentioned, ESXi and Citrix, which are which already have management packs. So of course, they are paid management packs. But these are really, really big ones. So they take a lot of time to create and code. And of course, some of the items in here would require you to have that software. Otherwise, you cannot create a management pack for it. So those were some of the things that we have been going through as well. But it's really interesting.
I would agree. Stoyan, how about your take, your views on these themes?
I also liked almost all the ideas. I do see a lot of them posted on the Microsoft Q&A platform, where I'm actively responding to requests. What I can say, we'll just confirm what Bob said. There are really great ideas like Citrix, like VMware monitoring, which for obvious reasons cannot be covered within this format. So they have a lot of dependencies with them. There are also stuff like container monitoring, which is really awesome, which is something which is needed out there. But again, it's very complex for in our case. I think the ideas we have already selected, which we will see in the coming slides, are really down to being not that complex. Not to have any dependency on a technology like VMware, like Citrix, and also they are like some of the most requested by the community. Can't wait to see what we are going to choose for the contestants.
Sounds good, thank you. And Shivam, how about yourself? I'm particularly interested in hearing how long it took to write the Microsoft official Azure MP, as part of your feedback and thoughts on these topics.
Let's just say that it was not 24 hours, definitely. It was somewhat, it was months. It took months. So that's why I had to fight the urge to let some of the ideas, go in the final list, which would make the product group's life easier, because then we would have to spend less time. Like, there were ideas in there which were, in it themselves full 6-month projects that we would take as a product group. But yeah, as a better judgment, we did not take up those ideas. And
yeah, sounds good. Well, don't worry. Anything that doesn't make the shortlist, we'll happily send across to you so that they can be, prioritized appropriately. That's all I'm saying.
Add it to the link list.
Add it to the list, exactly. Great. So those are the topics. And like we said from the outset, if there's anything that requires specific technology, so Citrix, it won't be in the shortlist. So now let's go and have a look at that shortlist. This isn't the first time our contestants have seen this shortlist. They got about 24 hours notice of the topic list, so that if there's anything in here that's fundamentally unachievable, because of prerequisites, because of experience or knowledge, that they can have a chance to say, nope, I don't want to do this one I will fail at. Because ultimately this is a community event and we want some awesome monitoring at the other side, don't we? So it would be setting everyone up to fail otherwise, but only 24 hours notice, because otherwise, you can spend a lot of time on Google researching and stuff. So without further ado, let's look at the topics one by one. So the first idea in the list is alerts on unexpected shutdowns. So this is essentially monitoring for things like blue screen of death issues, where a server blue screens and you have to detect it. I don't know, judges, if you had any thoughts on how you'll be looking to assess this idea. Whoever wants to go first can go for it, rather than me go around to you guys one by one.
How to assess or how to build it? Because we can't give away everything for our contestant.
Indeed, I will let you be the judge of that.
Well, you know what is interesting, especially about unexpected shutdowns and blue screens, is that at that moment that it happens, there is no monitoring either. Your agent is down. So this is an interesting fact to keep in mind. So it will be interesting to see how they work around it.
Indeed. One of the comments that came in with one of the people that suggested monitoring for this was monitor for unexpected shutdowns, full stop. Good luck, smiley face. Because like you say, without an agent, it makes things a little more challenging. Any other comments from our judges on that one before I move on?
I think I would expect here for whoever takes over this assignment to check different stuff like are there many memory dumps generated, what kind of memory dumps, maybe additional factors which can contribute to having more information in the solution, like an event, maybe a hexadecimal error code for the blue screen, something like this, to make the solution even more richer. So just some hints what will be interesting to see.
Sounds
so
like
maybe to explain, we actually sent out a larger description than just this listed in red to the participants as well.
We did.
So there is an actual description there.
There is.
Also,
I chose to not stick them on screen because it will take that's a lot of text otherwise.
Yeah.
Also, it would be fun to see if this can be extended. Like when you have an unexpected shutdown, do you have a series of unexpected shutdowns, or does the system recover by itself? Like if someone, I know it's just 24 hours, but if you can take it to that level, that would be an interesting thing to see.
For sure. All right. The next idea then, open Windows firewall port on demand until traffic ceases. Judges, what are your comments and thoughts on this one?
This is something I'm going to expect with great interest because it's like a reactive, let's say reactive monitoring. So you do get somewhere an indication that a connection has been blocked, how to find it out, and then how to open, let's say, a firewall port exactly for this connection or for this port. This is very interesting as a topic. It's not something I do see very often, so I will be really following this up.
I would agree. I'm going to try and speed through these a bit more in the interest of time. So I'm going to go through these slightly quicker because we have 9 of them to go through. So the next one is monitor volume shadow copies. Any thoughts on this?
So this is going to be a little bit broader, of course. So it's about the volume shadow copies. We are looking at the used disk space by it, the number of backup sets, and of course we want to specify which drives that we want to check for VSS. And also we have some thresholds, of course, overridable thresholds with informative alerts. So that would be the goal.
Sounds good. Sounds simple at the outset, but the devil's in the detail, as always with these things. Then we have create registry keys containing data from centrally stored CSV on servers. Also store this info in SCOM's object model. So there's a couple of components to this one. To be able to create registry keys essentially from a CSV file, and then to store this information in SCOM itself so it can be used for other things. I can think of multiple use cases for this. The thing that immediately springs to mind is sort of ownership information. Who owns this server? Which group are they part of? That kind of thing. Judges, comments, thoughts?
I think it's a great generic idea. and it has a big potential to be extended in the future, and in order to solve other problems. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, normally you have some information in a CMDB or in some other tool, maybe ServiceNow or whatever, and you want to be able to store that somewhere. So let's just assume that it's a CSV for now, and then try to get that ownership information or other related information into the registry so SCOM can go and have a look at it.
Mhm.
So that would be...
I think with this, all of the whatever gets built, if somebody gets this, the expectation, the hope is that the code itself will be made open source, so that you guys as the community can consume that information and extend it for your own use cases and purposes. So really valuable. Moving on, outside in website monitoring for sites requiring two-factor auth. Judges, thoughts on this one?
This can get trickier, I think, huh? Right, guys? It's really the dependency, or just mentioning two-factor authentication makes the story complete. Yeah, a very complex one. And although it's on the short list, I think it will be much harder for the guys the one who takes over this to get it done within this time frame. But still, let's be surprised.
Indeed. I guess if I were going to be tackling this one, I'd be looking at something like using Twilio to accept the two-factor auth SMS and passing that through to SCOM somehow, and picking a two-factor auth platform that can do it via some method that's easy for me to ingest. But this one will be a challenge.
It may be difficult, but we would be really happy to see this one. Like, I think this is something we have talked inside the PG about also. So, like, would be really happy to see what approach whoever builds it takes.
Sounds good. Moving on, we have an API query management pack.
Oh, well, then I will say something about that, since I've been talking about that at the last Select MP University as well. Monitoring a web-based API, likely, or REST API, but in a generic way. So making a template, or a fragment, as we would call it, right? Where we would put in our classes, or you have a class structure in there already, like how do you call it, a watcher node, and create that monitoring up from there, and have a place where to put in your PowerShell scripts, basically. It doesn't need to have the content.
And it also does not need to be that complex, I think, right, Bob?
Yeah, it should be easy.
I think the thing here is, what could possibly go wrong,
Exactly.
Reusable, what's the word, malleable, so any form of RESTful API can be consumed, which would be really, really cool to see. Next one, put servers behind gateway into maintenance mode when the gateway goes down, and take out of maintenance mode when the gateway becomes available. Comments on this one, judges?
This is something I see a lot. In the forums, users are asking. Obviously, the use case is pretty clear. So your gateway goes down, and then everything what's behind it just alerts. I don't know. It would be interesting to hear what Shivam has to say about this. Do you guys have something in mind to build something like this, or have you thought of it already?
It's definitely thought of. We don't have any current plans, but okay, if one of the participants builds something, I will take it back to the PG for inspiration, and maybe we could shorten the turnaround time for this based on
I can say that this request has been out there since MOM 2005 for sure, and many times as well, especially with hosters or with people with remote locations. This happens a lot. All of the devices behind the location, behind the gateway, are in unavailable state at that moment.
Very often, when I'm pitching our ServiceNow integration between SCOM and ServiceNow, I often get questions around SCOM alert noise and alert storms, and this is an example of one of the things that customers said to me. Usually it's sort of hypervisor goes down, server goes down, gateway goes down, or some piece of networking equipment goes down. But there's several variations of cause and effect. And the effect is SCOM goes nuts, and the cause is the thing that's gone down. It's suppressing all the noise that isn't the actual cause of the issue. That is key every time. So I'd be really interested to see, what a solution here looks like, because from my experience, it's a real pain for customers. So there we are. Moving on, monitoring specific numeric values from a SQL table. Ooh, judges, comment.
So this is basically not using a performance counter, but using a script with a SQL query in it or whatever to read a number from a SQL table, and then using that as a counter, and being able, of course, to set thresholds and other things with monitors.
Right. So again, this one, I guess you'd be looking for kind of completeness of solution rather than, the basics.
And of course, make it available centrally, such as a fragment.
Indeed. Sounds good. And the final idea on the shortlist: monitor 80 group members' password exploration. This one's going to come up a lot. Let's be honest.
This is something I'm really going to follow with a great interest because of the fact that I have already prepared something, or actually a solution which does exactly this, but I'm really waiting for the events to see what kind of other ideas will come. I think I have solved this particular issue with the most basic means there are. I mean, with PowerShell, but I'm really curious to see another kind of solution here. And this is a use case which hasn't been covered, I think, so far.
Makes sense. Good to know you also have something in your back pocket so you can compare it. All right. So that is the shortlist. So that means what's next? Well, we have to give out these topics to our contestants. But before we do that, I'm just going to go throw the mic open to our contestants. We'll start with going around you guys one by one, just to get your thoughts on the topics, in case there's anything you think, oh, that one sounds really good to me, or no, I fundamentally think that one is hideous. So what we'll do is we'll go around you guys one by one. We'll start with Dion, and we'll get your thoughts before we open up for votes. And attendees, you too will get a chance to vote on who gets what. So with that in mind, let's bring up Dion. And Dion, let's hear your thoughts.
So yeah, I mean, things like the I guess like things like the SQL table and the sort of AD group members parts. I think those are kind of interesting ones, because I think sometimes some of the requirements that come in that kind of sound like they're probably the most basic, so to speak, they sometimes can be the most complicated to actually construct something at the same time. So you can have something that covers the basis of that requirement, but then sometimes something a bit more intelligent or something a bit more specific that really attends to the needs of that requirement can become trickier. So it would be interesting to see which one of those I would probably get out of the lucky bags.
And any thoughts on what anything you particularly do or don't want from that list?
Well, I suppose the only ones I really can't really do, I guess, is maybe probably more of the API bits, and then the I guess sort of the gateway stuff. I think only to the limitations of some of the stuff that I actually have really. But otherwise, I mean, if my lab was a lot bigger, I would definitely take anything. But yeah, I think those are the only ones I could probably see that could have a bit of a roadblock on my side of things. But
makes sense. Okay, well, I guess with that in mind, as you're here, judges, we might as well, while Dion's up, pick a solution for Dion. So I guess starting with you, Bob, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting to see, but I'm not yet out of the woods of what to choose for this one. I think the unexpected shutdowns it would be interesting, and the SQL table would be interesting as well.
So what's your vote for Dion going to be?
Unexpected.
Unexpected shutdowns. All right, Stoyan, how about yourself? It looks like you're muted. Stoyan, you're muted from the looks of things. While you're unmuting yourself, I'll go to Shivam. Shivam, how about yourself?
I think he can go with anything. I'll go with Bob because I really don't have a preference. Like I just want things built, and I think he can build it. So
You're viewing this as free resources for the SCOM product team. I like your style. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Again, SCOM 22.
Let's go with unexpected shutdowns then.
Sounds good. Stoyan.
I know what I'm not going to give to Dion. It will be the AD group member stuff, because I know he's very good at PowerShell, and this is what I used to get this done. So I would pick either the firewall stuff or the unexpected shutdown. Having 2 judges already decided for this, I think it will be pretty clear.
Okay, sounds good. So it sounds like we have a winner. But before we decide, let's throw this open to the community. So we're going to pop a poll up on screen, which will allow for you all to vote. It should be on the events tab. There should be polls there, and there should be a poll live very shortly. I have multiple screens here, so I'm hoping that we're good. Shout if not, somebody wave and send smoke signals in my direction. But there should be a poll up if you go to events and then to polls for Dion, so you can have your say. We're going to give it a couple of seconds. I would say 30, but I mean, we just have to stand here and talk and dance for 30 seconds otherwise. So let's give it a minute and see what the community thinks as well. And then from there, we'll be able to find out what the community thinks. So Dion, while the community are having their say, if we go with the judges' suggestions so far, any thoughts on that challenge?
It's a good one, and it's a horrible one at the same time. But I like it. I like it. I like it. I like the challenge. I'll definitely try and figure something for that.
Sounds good. I'm going to give it another 5 seconds, let's say. It looks like the votes are looking very conclusive. I think let's call it time there. So the votes are in. I see 9 votes in the community on alerts on unexpected shutdowns. So I think unanimously you have your assignment. So thank you very much. Off you go. Your time effectively starts now. So good luck. And next up we have Ronnie. So Ronnie, hello. We'll bring you back up on stage. Hello, Ronnie.
Hello.
Any thoughts on those topics that remain? Anything you think yes or no to? Interested in your thoughts.
Technical problems with the 2-factor authentication. I don't have any way of testing that. So my favorite is definitely the centrally stored CSV file. And the second place, maybe the SQL table. But
no problem. And
they look very interesting.
And any reason for those preferences? Is that the case of you have experience in those areas?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Makes sense. Okay, no problem. So, all right, I'm going to go to you first. What are your thoughts on what to give Ronnie? Van, are you there? I can see you.
The question will be here: Do we really want to challenge Ronnie and not give him the stuff he wanted to have? I'm still very interested in the firewall opening solution, firewall port opening solution. It would be great if we can see Ronnie doing this.
Sounds good. Okay, that's you, Stoyan, then. How about yourself then, Bob?
I was actually thinking the same thing. Sorry, Ronnie. But yes, it was actually, it would be very interesting to look at that, especially, yes. Okay. I would agree.
I was going to go with SQL query numeric values, but I think I'm overruled.
Oh no, there's a lot of people still around in the votes.
No, yeah.
If we end up with a tie-break situation, Bruce decides, and clearly not judging, but if we end up with a tie-break situation, that's what will happen. Just saying, guys. So, Shivan, with that in mind, what's your vote to be for?
Mm-hmm.
I would go for SQL with numeric values. I want to see what level he can take it to.
Okay, interesting. Sounds good. And without further ado, then let's throw it open to you guys, the attendees, via poll. So we should be able to put a poll up for you, Ronnie. The poll is up. So if you could place your votes now for Ronnie, based on what our judges have said, we'll give you a moment or two to vote. And while we're doing that, Ronnie, what are your thoughts on both SQL monitoring for numeric values and open firewall port?
Oh, it's exciting to know what task I'm getting. I'm looking forward to it.
The moment is looking quite close to being a tie-break from reading the results so far. I'll give it a little bit longer for those votes to trickle in. Let's see. Let's give it another moment. So the moment from the community, monitor specific numeric values from SQL is in the lead with 7 votes versus open Windows firewall ports and create registry keys containing data from centrally stored CSV, etc. In second place with 4. I'm going to give it another 5 seconds, shall we say? 10 seconds, shall we say? Let's give it 10 seconds. I'm being told 10.
Nice.
Let's give it 10 seconds. Let's see. Let's give you another 2 seconds, 1 second. Let's close the poll there. So from the community, the answer is monitor specific numeric values. Okay, so we're in a tie-break situation, which means Bruce decides. What does Bruce think? Well, from my perspective, both of these solutions are potentially interesting. Personally speaking, the one that I feel is a bigger challenge is the firewall ports one. Because unlike with monitor numeric values, I can think of how I would tackle that one, and I'm not a contestant for this reason. So I think the more challenging of the two would be firewall. And so for that reason, my sort of casting vote in this case is going to be firewall. How do you feel about that, Ronnie?
That's okay.
Okay, good. Okay, then we have
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Right, in which case you have your assignment, off you go. Good luck. And then next contestant we'll bring up. Next contestant is Kevin. Hello, Kevin.
Howdy.
How are you doing?
Good.
So what are your thoughts then on the ideas that are remaining?
I would probably say the one I like the most, and I've heard this for a long time, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't tackled it, but the servers behind gateways with maintenance mode. I can see how that would be really beneficial, and I have seen some things presented very just conceptually, not necessarily delivered over the years, and so yeah, I mean I don't think that's something that can be perfected in 24 hours, but I think you could take a real strong stab at that. Beyond that one, I like a lot of these. The 80 group membership password expiration, the SQL table, the CSV one, all those were interesting. But I'd say I'd probably lean towards the gateway maintenance mode thing, just because I can see a widespread use of that on a generic level.
Yeah, as can I. I can see that one being really, really valuable. Great. Okay. Well, I guess with that in mind, judges, time to judge. Bob, do you want to go first?
I was actually thinking the same thing. I was also thinking about the maintenance mode part, because it sounds really easy to do, but like so many people, so many hosters have battled with this over the years to come up with a real idea. So I would. Give him the thingy. Yes. No, that's my thought about it as well.
Okay, so just to be clear, maintenance mode thingy or gateways offline thingy?
It's the same thingy. Yes.
The gateways thingy. Right, sounds good. Okay, Stoyan, how about yourself?
I think as we defined the shortlist, Bruce, as soon as I read this idea, I was thinking this should be for Kevin. So and this really requested, something which is requested very often, and there is the need for this, and I think Kevin is perfect for this.
Perfect. Shivam, how about yourself?
I am in agreement. Asking Kevin to create a management pack or fragment is not a challenge. Let him do the maintenance mode thingy.
Sounds good. Well, we have unanimous views among the judges. Let's see what you guys think out there as the community. So we'll be putting up the next poll. So have your say. It should be live now. So I guess, Kevin, given I already kind of know your thoughts on this one because you'd said already this is your one, there's not much to say. So shall we dance for 10 seconds perhaps? Or... I guess there's not much else to do but wait. But the good news is the poll is now up. So community, if you'd like to have your vote, I see no votes so far. Oh, no, I don't. I'm seeing... Okay, it's just refreshed. I'm seeing a unanimous support at the moment for the maintenance mode thingy, which is great. I see.
So you don't have to have your blog post ready by tomorrow, but
That's the easy part.
yeah, exactly.
How many seconds have I got left? Say 5 seconds, 10 seconds left. So we'll give it another 10 seconds for everyone to vote. Well, it's looking pretty unanimous, let's be honest. Perfect. Right. So the votes are in, and guess what? No surprise. Unanimously, like a whitewash unanimously, 27 votes for put servers behind a gateway into maintenance mode. In other words, the maintenance mode thingy. So Kevin, you have your assignment. Any thoughts on it before we let you go and crack on?
I have some ideas already. I'm looking forward to figuring out how to make it more dynamic. So that all you have to do is import it and it would just dynamically discover gateways and create groups and all of that. I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm looking forward to trying.
Sounds good. Well, off you go. Good luck to you, and we'll check in with you soon to see how it's going, and look forward to seeing it tomorrow. So off you go. All right, next contestant is Anders. Anders, you have you've managed to get virtual backgrounds working like Bob. That's cool. So let's hear your thoughts on the remaining ideas.
I don't have any preference, but I like the SQL one and the centrally stored CSV, I think.
Of those two, personally speaking, I quite like the centrally stored CSV because that's the variants of that have come up at customer sites a number of times.
I can see a wider usage of that one, and I think it's I have a pretty nice idea already in that area, so that's my preference.
Sounds good. All right, Shivam, I'm going to go to you first this time. What are your thoughts for Anders?
Definitely the centrally stored CSV is something I would like to see built. And so the question is, as Stoyan says, do we make it challenging for him? Because he says he has a very good idea already there. So what do you think, Stoyan? What should we do?
It's a great idea, Shivam. In this particular case, I would say it will be the most useful for the community if we give to Anders the idea he would like to have. But at the same time, I personally I would like to see a solution for the password expiration monitoring. So in order to make it a bit more interesting, I will vote for this one. But I will agree also with you that the CSV stuff will be very helpful also. So let's see how how Bob decides, Bruce, and of course all the participants.
Okay,
sure.
Bob, interested to hear your thoughts.
It's actually very interesting how my thoughts went the same way as what Stoyan was saying. I do really like the CSV and also the password expiration part, because both are like really useful for the community as a whole. So I'm actually leaning towards the password expiration
Ooh, interesting.
this
2 for
one.
password exploration, 1 for CSV. Okay, so I guess without further ado, the poll should be becoming open, and it is on screen now. Oh no, it's not. It will be on screen in a second. Waiting for it's live now. Great. So please cast your vote now for Anders. Really interested to hear what whether you agree with our judges or whether you want Anders to build something entirely different. There are obviously still other ideas on the list. We still have volume shadow copies, the slightly evil 2-factor auth, which I don't think anyone's going to get today from the looks of things. We have an API query management pack. Many other options are available. And so far, looks like the vast majority of votes are for CSV, which means we enter another tiebreak situation, possibly. But let's see.
Right.
Another moment or two. The reason why it's quite good from my perspective to get the attendees to vote is that you guys are not just voting based on what would be cool to see Anders build, but also what do I really want to use myself, and so that's valuable data if it comes to a tiebreak situation. Just saying. Let's give it another couple of minutes. So far, CSV is winning. I think let's give it another 10 seconds. So we'll have our 10-second countdown. So another 10 seconds to get your votes in. And then we will see how the land lies. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Right. Okay. In which case, then, the votes are in. And it seems like CSV is the winner, which means we have a tiebreak situation, which means it's up to yours truly to pick. So my view is that both are really, really valuable to the community. But Anders, you're new to SCOMathon, so I feel I'd like to go easy on you because I want to have you back.
Thank you.
And also our community, has spoken clearly. There is a need for the CSV idea, and that is the unanimous decision that the community has made. So from my perspective, because I have to make the decision, it's going to be the CSV thingy. So that's what it will be for you, Anders, if that's okay. Any thoughts on that?
No, thank you very much. I think that's the best one because currently I'm having some problems with the access to domain controllers. So I'm very pleased that I got that.
Even more reason to give you that one.
Yeah, thank you.
It's okay. Perfect. Okay, well, in which case you have your assignment. Off you go. Good luck. And we'll bring up our final contestant, who is Nathan Foreman. So, Nathan, sorry, you get the dregs, but then that's the
bottom
deal.
of the barrel.
An internal employee, I couldn't give you preferential treatment. You get what's left. So, what are your thoughts on what's remaining?
Well, I like the API query and the SQL one. So they're usually looked at as a simple, right, just do the query. But the value to a business is very high. It's how many items are in a processing table, how many of these, whatever is left to do in checking either the SQL or API. But the challenge for me there, I'd actually like to bring those into the console authoring pane as so you just go new authoring template, new SQL, and you just paste your query, or new API, you paste your URL, and then maybe a regex to draw it out, something like that, so you could actually extract it from any. So as someone had said earlier, specifically a PowerShell script invoke REST isn't difficult, but I'd like to see them brought in the console so that anyone, when you get that from your manager that says this SQL table, you're just like, cool, new template, paste the query, maybe set a yellow alert, a red alert number, save it, and you're done.
My favorite thing about UI in SCOM is it's the weirdly complicated thing to add UI to the SCOM console.
It can be very cumbersome to add it in.
Right. So sounds good to me. So I guess based on your feedback there, Nathan, I'll go to you, Shivam, first. What are your thoughts for Nathan?
I just realized that he is the last contestant. Nathan, can you build more than one thing?
For a challenge, I bet I could do both the API and SQL. I might end up regretting that, but I might be able to fit both of those in 24.
That's interesting. That's fight talk, Nick. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, by all means, feel free to go and do that, regardless of what you get picked. But in the spirit of fairness, we'll pick one. And if you want to build two for bonus points,
Yeah.
it's not for me to stop you.
So between the two, I think I see more use out of the SQL one. I see that. I think you could extend it in many ways.
Sounds good. Stoyan, Bob?
I think I've mentioned it once already during the HackaSCOM promotional video that what I like about Nathan is that he brings a certain complexity when doing his solutions, and I do see the need for API monitoring, and I think he would be the perfect guy for it, especially considering his suggestions about how to bring it up in the UI. I think it will be very suitable assignment for him.
Sounds good. Bob, your thoughts?
Yes. Well, I also like both ideas actually, and also, the way of either bringing it into a fragment on the one side for the authoring tools, or to just use SCOM itself, like in the authoring pane with the templates, which are also really useful. But in the end, it's also coming up with some kind of a template as well.
Yeah.
So I do like both ideas as well. And actually, we did say beforehand that we should actually give the most difficult one to Nathan, right?
Second off, Kevin has to have the most difficult one. Other than that, yes, I agree. So with that in mind, what's your pick? If you had to pick one, what would it be?
I would go for the API. Actually, that would be let's say the more interesting to build.
Mm-hmm.
I think SQL might be a little bit more used at the moment, but the API would be the more challenging one for different kind of reasons.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so we have two for API, one for SQL, and that is where you, community, get to have your say. So again, poll time is now. So we'll be putting live the poll for you, Nathan. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say on this, community. Are you going to agree with two of our three judges, or not? You can go whichever way you like. So the poll is now up. I can see the votes are coming in. Oh, so
Bruce,
far.
did you happen to add both to the poll?
Well, I mean, Nathan, just a hint, if you're interested in bonus points, both would generate bonus points, I would think.
I'll see if Red Bull's on sale next door.
I was going with the whiskey option, but I guess
Whiskey.
that may be not conducive to good authored or well-authored management packs.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Coming in, it looks like API query management pack is very far in the lead with 21 votes, everything else being in single digits. Let's give it 10 seconds then. There's a large number of votes in already, and see how the land lies. 5 seconds to go. All right. So it looks like, Nathan, your assignment will be the API query management pack. The community has voted for that in droves, basically. It's far the leader by a long old way. So you have your topic. Feel free to build more if you want, but we certainly won't be penalised with all your team management packs. So with that in mind, off you go. Good luck. And with that in mind, it's time for us to start the clock. So we have on the scomathon.com site, our clock is ticking. So if you want to see how long our contestants have, all you need to do is go there, and the countdown is ticking. Good luck, contestants. Before we end today, just a quick word from our sponsors. So Squared Up are one of our sponsors. They are the not-so-secret source for SCOM success, providing awesome dashboards for SCOM and for more. So do go and check them out. Secondly, the company that obviously I'm biased towards, it's the one that I work for, is Cookdown. Our flagship product is one called Connection Center, which is all about getting data into SCOM from multiple different places. In fact, anywhere that will push a webhook, essentially. And so these are just an example of the sorts of places you can get data from. And not just that, but getting data out of SCOM to various places from ServiceNow, ITSM tools like ServiceNow and Sharewell and BMC, through to messaging platforms like Slack, Teams, etc. But ultimately, Connection Center is your one-stop shop for connecting SCOM to and from anywhere. And as an offer for all of you attendees to HackaSCOM, we are offering you a free 3-month license. Oh, there's a tongue twister. If you go to go.cookdown.com/HackaSCOM-2021, you can get your free license there. And that's us. So our final sponsor is Silect. Silect's MP authoring solutions in the form of MP Studio and MP Author make it much easier for you to author the monitoring and tackle challenges like the ones that we've set today. The good folk at Silect have offered the contestants here today free copies of their MP Author solution to help our contestants build the coolest solutions for you today. So thank you to the team at Silect. Do go and check them out. If you go to silect.com/SCOMathon, all of the details will be there for you. So all that's left to say is see you tomorrow at 3 p.m, which is, we're 5 minutes past 3 now, so just under 24 hours. And to all of you contestants, good luck. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're going to build next. And thank you, judges and everyone for attending today. See you all tomorrow for where we reveal the results. Thank you very much, everyone. Until tomorrow, goodbye.
Thank you, guys.